Yes, I'm exhausted. Of course, it's ridiculous. We live in a ridiculous country. We always lived in a ridiculous country, but it was always ridiculous in a fun Mr. T kind of way. Now we've got a different Mr. T.
Yeah, and you've got Mr. Low T and Mr. ED and Mr. TDS. That was Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars last night. The Trump derangement syndrome. Very much on display last night. The Hollywood people, you know how they are. I think all of them are transgender, aren't they? Everyone last night at the Oscars, tranny. Did you see Nancy Pelosi was there with her husband, Maxwell Silverhammer. He was there. They were both there. They're very wealthy. They don't really have anything to do with Hollywood. But, you know, Democrats, it was a Democrat Party circle fest in a hot tub. Hot tub. Boy, a bunch of movies that nobody saw with a bunch of actors that nobody cares about. And they've all got a political opinion but have no idea what they're talking about. It's pretty perfect for the Democrat Party, actually. The whole Oscars thing, they have those nice statuettes, the nice golden statuettes. I should win one of those. Well, how can I win an Oscar? I should do a short documentary in a foreign language on something. I'm not sure what. Maybe on the Democrat Party being such Nazis. Maybe do that. Attacking the Jews everywhere they go because of who they are. But yes. And so it is another Monday in America, and the left is still insane and demented and violently, criminally insane. And we continue to be at 888-630-9625. A lot going on, but we have this war with Iran, which is the Islamic Revolution, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And they kidnap, they torture, they rape, they murder, and then they do it all over again because they're the caliphate reincarnated, and they've got an Ayatollah. Well, they don't actually have an Ayatollah now, although they did vote in the younger Ayatollah to be the newer Ayatollah. And now the reports are that he's actually a gay man, and that's not going to go over very well. And also, it turns out his father thought that he was dumb, thought that he was so dumb and that he could never rise to being dad, being the Ayatollah of rock and roll, and so he thought that his son should never become the Ayatollah, regardless of whether they voted him in, the College of Mullahs or whatever they're called, and they voted him in, the son of the old, now deceased Ayatollah. Hey, let's make him the Ayatollah, and now it turns out he's probably a gay man. That's not going to go over real big, I'm thinking, and that dad always thought he was really dumb. And in fact, according to some of the reporting, Dad thought that he was gay because he's dumb. And that would explain why he's being a gay man and all that. Now, with that said, that's not the biggest problem in the world. One of the biggest problems in the world is the Iranian regime developing nuclear weapons, and with the help of the Democrats, of course, literally true. Barack Hussein Obama and Joe Biden, their administration, giving billions and billions of dollars to the Islamic Revolution, the Islamic Republic, and that would help them to enrich uranium, spin centrifuges, expand the range of their ballistic missile program so they could kill us all, just like, at the end of that ridiculous movie called Begonia, because that's the end of all movies where the left is in charge, is everyone on earth dies. But it turns out that these lying sacks of Jawea in the Iranian regime, President Trump dropped bombs on their nuclear weapons program buried deep underground for peaceful purposes. That's why they bury them very deep underground, half-mile underground, under a mountain, because they just want enough uranium for their peaceful nuclear energy program. And President Trump offered to give them all of the uranium that they need for nuclear energy and to give it to them for free, and then they murdered somebody as a response. because that's what they do. But listen to this, because Iran has a foreign minister, and his name is Abbas. I just call him Abbas. Last name is Araghchi. Araghchi. See, and you might say Araghchi. Araghchi. And he is the foreign minister. The foreign minister of Iran was welcomed onto Face the Nation yesterday, where they gave him a hot oil rub down in a hot tub. And they had this Margaret Brennan woman, who's a Democrat Party front girl, and that is a double entendre. Margaret Brennan there with the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, and you'll never guess what he said. He said, oh, yeah, I know that our government, our regime has been lying to the whole world and lying to the U.S. and lying to the United Nations, lying to the International Atomic Energy Agency about our spinning centrifuges that Barack Obama gave them money to do, and enriching uranium. And they said they're supposed to enrich uranium to like 5% or something. They enriched it to 60% of purity, the enriched uranium, which you use to make nuclear weapons. And once you're at 60% purity, then it's apparently a 1 week process, a 1 week long process to bring that enriched uranium to 90% purity. And that's where you can really make a good weapon out of it. You can also make dirty bombs with what they have now. But here is the Iranian foreign minister on Face the Nation yesterday with Democrat front girl Margaret Brennan. And they say, oh, yeah, sure, we've got tons of enriched uranium. Don't worry about us. We're fine.
Iran has declared it has 440 kilos or so of nuclear material. Where is that material now? Who has custody of it?
Well, we have not declared. This is verified and declared by the agency.
This
is not a secret. This is not a secret, you know. The agency have said in his many reports the exact amount of our enriched, nuclear material.
Yes. So where is it now? Who has custody of it?
So they are under the rubbles. You know,
under the rubbles.
Our nuclear facilities were attacked, and everything is under the rubbles. Of course, there is the possibility to retreat them, but under the supervision of the agency. If one day we come to the conclusion to do that, it would be under the supervision of the agency. But for the time being, we have no program, we have no plan to recover them from under the rubbles.
To recover them from under the rubbles, under them, them being the 440 kilograms of enriched uranium. It's under the rubbles. It's the Barney Rubbles, the next door neighbors of the Flintstones. They're very close friends, and they're living in the age of Fred Flintstone and all that stuff. So there it is. It's under the rubbles, and you may, for the agency, I assume he wants the Central Intelligence Agency to come in and collect all of their 440 kilos of enriched uranium. He's presumably talking about the International Atomic Energy Agency, which has been a complete joke from day one on this completely ridiculous joint comprehensive plan of action that the idiot Democrats, Barack Obama and John Kerry, put together. And do you see John Kerry came out of hiding last week and complained about the weather? He's go, there's war in Iran, and it's bad for the environment. It's bad for the environment. War in Iran is bad for the environment. You think that's bad for the environment? You should see all the people they murdered. That's really bad for the environment. Tens of thousands of them. But the Democrats, just amazing. Amazing stuff. There is I talked about the Iranian women's soccer team that went to Australia to play in an international tournament, and they really infuriated the jihadis in Tehran when they kind of took a knee when they played the Iranian national anthem. They didn't stand and salute and take off their hats and button up their overcoats and all that stuff. They snubbed their own anthem, and that made the regime there very, very angry indeed. Like Marvin the Martian, they're furious. And then again, the left-wing prime minister, our great longtime listener, Jason, called in. He's Australian originally. Now he's an American, and a great American too. And it turns out that these women, the soccer team women, a bunch of them said, we're defecting. We're staying in Australia. And then the Iranian regime sent a woman to them to say, we've kidnapped your family. We're going to murder them all if you don't come back and play the charade. And a bunch of them has said, I think 5 out of the 7 have now said, okay, we're going back to Iran because we don't want our family tortured to death by the regime there. So 5 of them are now headed back to Iran out of fear, because that's what totalitarianism is, and that's what the Islamic Revolution and this theocracy is all about. In the name of Allah, they'll kill you and your family if you take a knee, as the Democrats are so fond of doing during our. But with the soccer team, the women's Iranian soccer team, being threatened with death and murder and torture of their family and the murder of their family, and apparently some have already disappeared. The Democrats like to say that, Trump is making people disappear. I mean, illegal alien gang members who have been here illegally for years, and they're arrested because illegal immigration is illegal. But never mind that. In Australia, they've got a town, a small city named Ryde, R-Y-D-E. And there they have a city council, as you might expect. And they've got a city council woman whose name is Tina. It's Tina Kordestami. Tina Kordestami is, and she's not Iranian-American, she's an Iranian-Australian. And as an Iranian woman, Australian, she ran for city council and was elected to the city council. And she seems like an intelligent and no-nonsense kind of woman. I saw her and I said, well, this is a woman you could talk to. Here is Tina Kordestami, who is a city council member at a small city in Australia.
The exact reasons as to why this has happened, I can't
the women
discuss,
leaving.
But I can let you know that they are heavily intimidated and, being communicated to directly by the regime. I know that families have even been detained. I know family members are missing. We are very worried about them. We know for a fact that they will not be safe. I've mentioned this before. When you do break a contract as an athlete in Iran, you can face the death penalty. So I know these women are young. I know that they are making an incredibly difficult decision, and I have the utmost respect for them. However, coercion is being used here, intimidation, tactics.
Yeah, see, there you go. And she's, I know that family members have been detained, family members have been arrested. The players and or their family members could face the death penalty, and they're not kidding about it there. It's not like California. Sirhan was sentenced to death, and he's getting up right about now to enjoy a culturally sensitive breakfast in jail in California. But this woman, Tina, was just great. Kordestami, and she's talking about, well, she knows that then the Iranians sent a woman there to mix in with them and to let them know, maybe you should talk to your family. It'd be a shame if something happened to them. They're total gangsters. They'll kill them all. All right, let's see. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Robert, calling from the once great state of New York. Robert, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well, Robert.
How are you? First, couple things. I just want to say what a pleasure it is, and don't get this wrong, but waking up with you in the morning is the best thing that's ever happened. So, thank you very much, darling. I just leave the money on the counter. Now, my point is, I have a quick question though. We keep talking about this enrichment thing and the yellow paste or whatever that stuff is, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're building up and building up. Aren't there, maybe this is rhetorical, aren't there already a lot of nuclear weapons in the world? So why wouldn't Iran just go buy one and have it available? Why? What's the big deal of making your own? Is there a sense of pride of authorship or something? I just wanted to get your feedback.
Well, I certainly think that would be a part of it. Pride of authorship is a good thought. But honestly, the nuclear club is thankfully fairly small. North Korea is a rogue nation with nuclear weapons, and they might be able to buy a nuclear weapon from North Korea. The Russians and the Chinese are probably not going to sell to Iran they might lord it over them, the leadership in Iran. But I don't think that they would say. And then you have France and Great Britain and right. And let me say, I have to go look at my nuclear club and the United States of America, of course. But most countries with nuclear weapons aren't going to sell them, and every nuclear weapon would have a specific signature. So if a nuclear weapon detonated in Washington, D.C., the aftermath would be traceable to North Korea or to Russia or to whoever created, the signature of the nuclear weapon, I think would be easy to identify. And the source of the nuclear weapon would then, it would create a bad relationship between them and the United States, I think. Don't you think, Robert?
We already have a bad relationship. Can't they just file off the numbers like you do on a gun? It seems to me that there's a black market out there that's already taken care of those issues. And if I may say,
please,
you only need one bomb.
That's right.
There's 27,000 of them in the world. Isn't there some guy in a black market situation someplace says, I could use $10 million. I'll sell you my bomb.
I think isn't that
rogue North Korean? I don't know. I'm just trying to think out of the box here, but help me out.
Isn't that every James Bond movie for the last 45 years?
I've seen too many movies.
And Austin Powers, what the hell would just steal 2 nuclear weapons like we always do? It's a perfectly fair question, and it honestly is. I think that Russia I'm pretty darn certain that there would be a signature that would be easily traced back to the country of origin that our guys could figure out in no time at all, thanks to the patriarchy, because we're so damn smart. Guys are just lucky you can hang with us in the patriarchy. How do you like your electricity? You're welcome. Very good question, though, Robert, and I'm actually gonna mull that more. I may talk to some smart people on this so that I can give a better answer to that question. But it's a great question, Robert.
Oh, hell, let's just do what we always do. Hijack some nuclear weapons and hold the world hostage.
That's right. We do what we always do. Just hijack a couple of nuclear weapons. Wanted to do that for Robert there because, what are they going to do? The Iranians, they want nuclear weapons so bad that they've been building tunnels underneath mountains for decades so they can enrich uranium in secret in locations that are impossible to get to with bombs, so they can build their nuclear weapons and then kill a lot of people, which is their stated goal. The great Satan and then the little Satan. I'm beginning to think that these people are disagreeable. They may not be getting any better. We've got another Democrat story. They've created a new strain of monkeypox coming up. All right, I want to get to the monkeypox. I want to get to President Trump talking about Iran. The Democrat Party is here to undermine the United States and Western civilization. But before we get into that and the Democrat creating new strains of venereal diseases, let's first go to the telephones. Let's go to Glenn calling from Burke, Virginia. Glenn, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Glenn.
In answer to the gentleman's question why Iran wouldn't get a bomb from some other country that has it, as a 30-year vet, we learned very early that militarily, if a country has the will and the means to do something, they will do it. We know they have the will to do it, and if they get the means, they will use the nuclear bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Consider Russia, who has the means to use a nuclear bomb against Ukraine. They don't have the will, nor does any other country that possesses the nuclear bomb have the will to use it. They're in a much different situation, and that's why we have to take away the means, because they have the will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Yeah, it's not, North Korea. That's why North Korea becomes the most likely to provide Iran with a nuclear weapon. You're right. Anybody gives a nuclear weapon or multiple nuclear weapons to Iran, the assumption, the operating assumption, the rebuttable presumption would be that they're going to use that nuclear weapon. And Glenn, where would we see the first nuclear weapon from Iran being used? Where would we see that?
They would launch it on Israel.
Right. But not Jerusalem, because you've got Islamic sites there, Dome of the Rock, and all that. Tel Aviv, I think, would likely be the first target. And then, if they could arrange to move a nuclear weapon to the United States, and again, their ballistic missiles don't have the range to reach us yet. The Democrats want to wait until they definitely have the range to reach us. Then they'll say, okay, now it's an issue, right?
And then we have a big problem.
Yeah, then we have a big problem because, and this is downrange national security, right, Glenn? I mean, this is, you spent 30 years, you said in the United States military, you didn't say where, you don't have to say anything that you don't want to say, but 30 years in, and you're instantly aware of some very basic fundamental things. Iran bad. Iran has a nuclear weapon. Iran will use a nuclear weapon. Russia and China and other members of the nuclear club are not likely to give a nuclear weapon to Iran, but North Korea might, and who knows if they could get a hold of something that's close enough. They can hit, Glenn, right now, parts of Western Europe, and they can deliver a dirty bomb, right? They can deliver enriched uranium and blow up the enriched uranium in downtown London with a missile or in Rome or something like that. It might anger people, but I don't think they care very much about that, do they?
Not at all. And Chris, the wall and the Cold War ended in less amount of time than we've been dealing with these people.
Which is a great point. I talked about that last week or the week before. Absolutely right. The Berlin Wall went up, in 1961, and it was up for a smaller number of years, fewer years than the 47 years that the Iranian Revolution has been in charge in Tehran. And that seemed like a long, long time, the Berlin Wall, right, Glenn? And
a long time.
Yeah.
Most of my time in the military was fighting the Cold War. The missiles and the mutually assured destruction and all the things we had to do because of the Cold War.
Right. That's right. Yeah, manning the Fulda Gap and all that good stuff. Yeah, and Checkpoint Charlie and the Cold War. God, I miss the Cold War, don't you, Glenn?
I do. Everything was quiet.
It made sense, and everything made sense. You had the bad guys, the communists, the Soviet Union, and we had the good guys, the United States, America, lead dog on the good guys sled, and we still are, of course. And in fact, we're taking on the bad guys. And where are the Europeans? Where are our European allies, Glenn?
Yeah, they're just deferring it to us.
Which they've been doing since, you can say 1945, but really before that, because had we not entered World War II, it's likely that Greater Germania would still exist in Western Europe.
Yeah, and you can't blame them, Chris, because they said, let the United States pay for our defense. Why should we? And we tolerated it, and that's what happened.
Yeah, well, and that's all true. And I got to say, Glenn, that we and the world, we've tolerated this Iranian regime, this terrorist regime of murderers and kidnappers and brigands and criminals and slave drivers and torturers and and the whole world has just said, well, this is what Muslims do, so we have to get used to it, right? And that really is what the world has decided, that Muslims are just going to murder a lot of people from time to time, and it's because they have a grievance, and it doesn't fill in the grievance here. It can go back centuries, or it can, go back to the 20th century, the 1950s, Mohammad Mossadegh, and that's why they're still murdering people today. And that's a lot of hooey, of course, but this terrorist regime has been around for 47 years. Absolutely true, longer than the Berlin Wall was up, and that's pretty amazing. And we've got to remind people of these things, Glenn, because nobody seems to be aware of anything that has occurred in history. And a lot of very, very important things occurred in the 20th century that defined the world in the 21st century. And are we just going to let the Islamic Revolution go on for a century that's been almost a half century now, 47 years? And the Democrat Party plan is, let them do what they're going to do. Sure, they're going to, every now and then they'll kill 35,000 of their own people. What do we care? And that's the left-wing perspective on this, is what do we care? We'll just let them do that. There's no sense of humanity. There are 92 million people enslaved by this theocracy in Iran. And again, they murder, they imprison, they brutalize, they enslave. They don't allow a Second Amendment because they know that if the population had guns, if 90 million Iranians had guns, they'd be free already, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you do a great job in bringing history into where we are today, Chris. So I commend you for that. It's very important. I shake my head all the time when you say this happened and let us not forget. I will say 30 years Air Force, and as we say, no one comes close.
Yeah, that's right. Good stuff. Thank you, Glenn. Saluting you. 30 years, United States Air Force. Great stuff. Cold Warrior. Yeah, the Cold War made sense. You had the bad guys and the good guys, and it worked with all the movies too. Even Hollywood understood it, and they're not the brightest bunch in the world, but they even understood that the Soviet Union, bad, communist totalitarianism. They murdered 30 million of their own people and started wars all over the place. And the Korean War started by the Soviet Union, the Vietnam War started by the Soviet Union, the Pol Pot in Cambodia massacred millions. The Soviet Union backing all of that. AK-47 rifles in the hands of every bad guy on planet Earth for decades and decades, and that's all fine. That's all fine because, I'm telling you. Yeah, and then the Iranian foreign minister going on Face the Nation yesterday saying, oh, yes, we have 440 kilos of enriched uranium, and it's behind, what did he call it? The ruble? It's behind under the rubbles? It's under the rubbles, which is just great. President Trump yesterday, soundbite number one, was on Air Force One, unrelated to the fact that it's soundbite number one, but he was on Air Force One, the presidential aircraft, and he's being asked, I'm going to have to observe again, I'm sorry to say, that nobody knows how to do audio anymore. Nobody can do audio anymore. Audio is video's funny little friend, and it's very important, especially if you know that there's a radio business out there, which there is. President Trump on Air Force One, with the ongoing now week 3, entering week number 3, the U.S. military campaign against the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Revolution in Tehran. President Trump being asked, how's it going?
We had some very good results today, as you probably heard, in Iran. Very strong results militarily. Results. We're talking to countries about releasing the straits. Otherwise, we don't put up very little, 1%, 2%. China, as an example, gets about 90% of its oil from the Hormuz Strait. And nice to have other countries police that with us, and we'll help. We'll work militarily.
It'd be nice to have other countries. I know nobody can do audio anymore. It was very hard to hear what the president's talking about. We've had really great results, strong results on the military campaign against Iran, knocking out their capabilities. And he said he's talking to other countries about bringing in the French and the British. They don't have much to bring to the dance, but that because they have been depending on us and assuming that we'll take care of their national security generation after generation. And the Russians would have taken them, the Germans would have taken them. Actually, the Islamists are now taking them in Great Britain and in France and beyond in Western Europe. They're surrendering, they're giving up. But the president said that he wants other countries, friendly countries, and I think he said even not so friendly countries, like maybe China, to bring their navies into the Persian Gulf to patrol the Strait of Hormuz, to escort oil ships out of the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Gulf, a.k.a. the Arabian Gulf. Have Arabia on one side, the Al Jazeera, the Saudi Arabian peninsula, and then on the east side you've got Iran, and it's a tough neighborhood, you know. But the president's saying he'd like to see other countries bring their naval ships in to escort the global economy. What is it? A fifth of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz out of the Persian Gulf. And if you're China, it's 90% of your oil energy that you're getting from Iran. And, you know, President Trump is the most unorthodox, unconventional president we've had in a long, long time. But he's, you know, say, look, the results are good. And the Iranians are now threatening and attacking shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And President Trump said he'd like to see not the United States take it on, but, hey, all you stupid NATO countries, well, what do you guys take a break from your long afternoon lunch and nap with long wine-rich afternoon meal, and then whatever you guys do after that, shack up or whatever. But isn't that amazing? And he said maybe these countries could come in and they could see to it that the Strait of Hormuz is not threatened by Iran, as is happening right now. And the Iranian officials are very openly threatening, we will kill you all. It's like Ahmed the terrorist. You know, Ahmed the terrorist was a great, what do you call him? You know, a ventriloquist puppet, Ahmed the terrorist. And Ahmed was always fun. He'd tell a couple of jokes and then, you know, threaten to kill you.
Silence! I kill you!
And we all laughed because that's when comedy, remember comedy? I miss comedy.
How do you spell your name? Oh, let's see. A C Flim.
Ahmed the terrorist.
Silence! I kill you!
It's AK. I think it's AK. Okay. MED, but there it is. We have an ambassador, the United States ambassador to the United Nations. We really should convert that to condos. Former member of the House of Representatives, Michael Waltz. Michael Waltz, not Walls, unrelated to that Minnesota nitwit, but the intelligent Michael Waltz, U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Talking about President Trump, energy supplies, keeping the Strait of Hormuz open, and the campaign against the Islamic Revolution.
It's absolutely correct for President Trump to call on the world to come help make sure their energy supplies are secure. He's had enough with the Iranian regime holding the world hostage in so many ways, either with its missiles, with the straits, with, God forbid, with a nuclear weapon. And he's calling upon the world to take care of this problem once and for all.
It's really just a strait. It's not straits. There aren't multiple straits. There is only one strait. It's the Strait of Hormuz, not the Straits of Hormuz. But he said when they have the straits, it's true. Iran. Remember Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, when he was president of Iran, he famously said that there were no gay people in Iran. None, zero, because they hang you, and kill you if you are. So that cuts down on the incidence of practitioners, let's say. Isn't that great? But there it is. Your people, just amazing. Yes, sir. Yeah, and call on the rest of the world because it's the world's energy supply. Iran is threatening it. I know the circumstances are a bit unusual, to be sure. But we can just sit here and say, so Iran is violent. They're Islamists. They're going to murder. They're going to blow up rec centers in South America. They're going to, planes and trains and automobiles are going to blow up. And what we're being told is, live with it. Get used to it. This is who they are. This is multiculturalism. This culture wants to murder everybody. That's one of the issues there. That's what President Trump is addressing what kind of world do you want to live in? You know, the Cold War is over, but Putin's still in there, and the commies in China are still commies, and they arrest people to harvest their organs, to turn the organs over to party officials who need kidneys and livers and things. They literally do that in China. Yeah, but where's the, I think I want to, the pound sign free Iran. We got to start a pound sign movement. Free Iran. Stop the genocide. Then I have like a ha after that.
In Iran, we don't have homosexuals like in your country. We don't have that in our country.
Let's go to soundbite number 3. President Trump is the President of the United States, leader of the free world, leader of NATO. He made NATO much stronger, but NATO is still weak because, the French are in NATO. And the English, come on. They're good with that Monty Python thing, but I think they're all cross-dressers too, aren't they? Yeah, I'm looking at the Nuclear Club. The Nuclear Club, as it's called, nations that have declared arsenals of nuclear weapons include the United States of America, Russia under Vladimir Putin, China under Xi Jinping, both communists who kill people by the millions, France, which surrenders every time the opportunity presents itself, the United Kingdom, which has a standing army that you could fit in the University of Michigan football stadium, but you can call on them if you'd like. And also there are others as well because it's more complicated than just those. India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons, generally considered to be the most likely place for a nuclear exchange to take place. Next up, India and Pakistan each have nuclear weapons. Israel, of course, has nuclear weapons. And North Korea is a country that has been declared to have nuclear weapons. The worst of the bad guys here, North Korea, not Pakistan, but North Korea. And because they're commies. You got a commie Putin in Russia, nuclear arsenal. Commie Xi Jinping in China, nuclear weapons. And then, you've got, it's a complicated world. That's why I need adult leadership. And not people like Barack Hussein Obama, who funded the Islamic Revolution to help them become a nuclear power.